you're going to leave him, you want to date, but if you don't go to this place, you're going to marry the same exact type of guy or meet the same exact type of guy. Like it was a psychological center.
Okay.
And I was like, no way. I called them up that day. I should have never been left alone with the FBI for 4 hours.
Do you think he was so into himself that he actually thought he was infallible and that would never happen, so that's why he didn't give you a warning?
Maybe, yeah. Maybe he just never thought it was coming. I don't know. But so I was with them, and what was his name? Agent Coleman. He had visited one of my friends before this. And so they had me in the room for 4 hours, and, you know, they were such jerks. I mean, they had a woman there to make me feel safer, but, you know, make no mistake, the FBI is not a group of nice people, right? They're not like a warm, fuzzy group of people. And so I was so pissed by the end of the night. And Coleman says to me, so what do you think of me? What'd you hear about me? I said, I think you're a fucking dick. Which, why did I say that to an FBI agent? Probably not the smartest thing to say.
No, but it's not illegal.
But I was so furious at the whole system at this point. Like, I'm just this young, innocent girl. Yes, did I enjoy the money? Did I buy too many pairs of shoes? For sure. You know, but that was really it. I really went into this marriage to love and to have a life with this man. And so then he got arrested, and I just was like, that's it. I'm done. I'm done.
You filed for divorce right away.
I didn't file for divorce right away, but I told him I can't do this anymore because also before he got arrested, when I was talking to him about it, and I was like, this was really hard. Your drug addiction, your abuse. He was like, it wasn't that bad.
Oh, he said that?
Yeah, he said that to me. And I remember I was getting sushi, and I'll never forget it. And I didn't know the word callousness. Now, maybe he didn't want to admit how bad it was for fear that I would leave him. I don't know what his reasoning was, but that really, the lack of remorse was really the knife in my heart.
Probably in his mind, I mean, I don't know if you can correct me if I'm wrong here based on what you think, but he probably just looked at it transactionally. Like, I gave you all these things.
Probably,
you
yeah.
Have everything you want. Like, you can't deal with a little bullshit.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I don't know, but that could be a take on it. But for me, that was not correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so then he went to our Southampton house, and I stayed in our Brookville house, and that was my beginning of liberation.
And he's under indictment, like talking to prosecutors about a deal, so you know he's going to jail.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
And you know that, like you said, like, you now have the leverage, like, he's going to be going away. You can take care of yourself, do what you got to do. What was the money situation like, though? Did you just assume everything was going to be taken, or?
Yeah, I drove to the courthouse with $1 million worth of my jewelry, and I gave it up, and they took it all, and I was like, take it.
Oh, for his bail?
Yeah, $10 million in bail.
Oh,
yeah.
So you still...
Yeah.
You were giving it yourself to bail him.
Yeah. I'm not going to abandon him like
That's
that
nice of
on
you.
the courts. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to be like, I'm taking the jewelry, I'm out.
I might have been like, bye-bye.
No, I'm not that type of person. No, and so we gave up everything we owned, and I was happy because it was blood money, and I didn't want it.
Blood money. That's how you looked at it.
Yeah, I didn't want it.
So you thought he was guilty of sin, for sure.
Yeah, I was like, I don't want this. If they're getting 11 counts of whatever they are, money laundering, I'm like, I don't want it. And the money was a trap.
Yeah.
The money didn't buy me happiness. The money did not give me any protection or safety, which I thought it would, right? So all the things that you think that money's going to give you, zero. So I just wanted to be free and calm and drama-free and peaceful. That was worth $1 billion to me.
That's well put. Really well put.
Yeah.
I mean, people have like the quote, like, money can't buy you happiness, but it can help. If all those other variables are given up, I don't think it really helps at all.
No. I mean, I'm living proof that it didn't make me feel any of those things that I thought it would make me feel.
What did the therapist say at this point? Like, once he's like, she's like, hey, I knew this all along.
Yeah, she was like, I don't really remember, but again, she was always there for me, and And it was at that point that Jordan, because Jordan was sober, and his sponsor calls me up and says, Nadine, I don't care what you're going to do. You're going to leave him, you want to date, but if you don't go to this place, you're going to marry the same exact type of guy or meet the same exact type of guy. Like it was a psychological center.
Okay.
And I was like, no way. I called them up that day, checked myself in, and I went to a place called the Karen Foundation.
Wait, you checked like a rehab center?
No, it's like an emotional, it's really for people, I guess, who were dealing with addicts, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like a 5-day intensive, psychological intensive to heal.
Wow. I
Yeah.
don't think I've ever heard. That's kind of a cool resource.
Yeah, it's called Breakthrough at Karen. It's still there.
Yeah.
Karen Foundation is an amazing, amazing addiction center. They're all over the country now. The one I went to was in Pennsylvania.
And it's just 5 days.
Yeah, 5 days.
So is this like just an intensive, like getting to the core of you need to recognize what happened here?
Yeah, like
how's
I
it work?
didn't know that I could say no. I didn't know about boundaries back then. Nobody was really talking about boundaries. Now it's, everybody talks about boundaries. It's like every other word. But so I learned all these things. I learned about my family of origin. I learned about
Your family of origin?
meaning like, my mother had just survived and I was just surviving. I wasn't really thriving. Like today I'm thriving.
Yeah.
Right. Just learned about how to not I think the thing that they made my sentence be, my caretaking made my life chaotic, like my over caretaking. And so then I just really worked on that and all the strings that went along with it. And they did family role playing. It was an amazing, amazing place. And
Wow.
I'm sure it's even more incredible today. But that was the beginning of my new life.
Yeah. But that's almost like an intensive, what's the word I'm looking for? Not therapy session. I mean, that's what you're doing. It's obviously therapy, but there's another term I'm looking for. It's like an intensive retreat in a way where you got to be like, hey, we're going to get to your reality. You're going to go home a new person.
Yeah.
But like, this is not 2 months or 3 months or something. It's like 5 days.
It's literally from 6 a.m. to 11 at night. They break you down and they put you into 2 different groups. And it was the best thing I ever did.
Now, is that you were working with a therapist this whole time, so obviously like that interest is there for a long time, getting internal and stuff. But is this a real turning point in where you get, what's the word I'm looking for? Like completely self-reflective as far as like recognizing all of the psychological patterns that had gotten the relationship to this point?
Yes. It's the beginning of it.
Yeah.
It's the beginning of it. They were like, you're codependent and he's an addict. Now in my research and studies, I don't necessarily just agree with that. I think there was a lot more going on, but that was a really great starting point for me to really start to heal. And because remember, when I'm in therapy with him, I'm just managing.
Yeah.
There's no healing going on. So it was a great starting point for me to heal.
That's a good way to put it, managing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just managing. And so now I'm like, okay, never going to do that again.
Now, what else, though, did you think it was? You said you just used the terms, you're codependent and he's an addict. But what were the other variables?
Well, now I know we were in the quintessential trauma bond.
Right.
I had no idea, again, about narcissism or this coercive control or intermittent reinforcement or these
intermittent reinforcement?
Yeah, that's where 70% of the time they're cruel, controlling, abusive, and then 30% of the time they're nice, kind, and generous and helpful.
Okay,
and that's actually what creates the bond. So I didn't know about all of these things back then, but it was a good start and a good foundation for me to start to get my power back.
Do you think he was also bipolar too? Because like these patterns, I'm not a psychiatrist, obviously, but these patterns are, as you describe them, are reflective of like hot and cold, nice and mean, not really a lot of 50%. It's
not
0
a lot
or
of
100.
50%, not a lot of 50%. I mean, probably, I would hate to diagnose him.
Even today. Good for you.
Yeah.
But so this like kind of starts your new life.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
get your kids. Is this when you start like divorce proceedings because he's going to jail?
Yeah. I just say to him, I want to get divorced. He moves to one house. I'm in the other
Yep.
house. He's busy with the FBI doing whatever he's doing. And I had a little company. I had a maternity company.
A maternity company.
Yeah, I made maternity clothing for women. Because remember, I'm pregnant, so I hate all the maternity clothing. And so I have a website, a catalog, and a store. So I have my own little business. And I was dating. I was like dating Michael Bolton.
You dated Michael Bolton?
I did.
Wait, so you rebounded with Michael Bolton?
No, just for fun, just for a few weeks.
Yeah, so you rebounded with Michael fucking Bolton.
A lot. a lot of men. I think a golf pro, the guy that owns Theory. Yeah, I was having fun. And then
is that weird dating though? Like right away after being in such a long relationship?
I was look, we have to remember I'm 32.
I know.
Yeah, I'm ready to date. I haven't felt like I've been loved in years.
You took a 5-day retreat and you're like, let's
Let's go. Let's do it. And so I was dating and working really hard and raising my kids. And it was a happy, very happy time. And then about a year and a half later, I met my current husband.
And how did you meet him, first of all?
On a blind date.
Another kind of blind date.
Yeah, another blind date, which is kind of crazy that I did that again, right? Yeah.
Yes. I mean, the last one, you knew the guy, though, coming. So
Yes.
it's like, what? But who set you up?
My old business partner, and he had given my current husband is an amazing dancer, and he had given this girl's brother dance lessons for his bar mitzvah or something.
Oh.
So he knew her for like 40 years. And so he was living in California, and he was in the garment business too. And I said, I'll go with anybody once. All right. Let's give it a whirl. And then that was it.
Now,
very nice man.
Even before you got there, I want to come back to that in a second.
Go ahead.
But like when you're starting to date these other guys, which, I mean, that's Michael Bolton for a few weeks, that's a flex. But, like, are you very suspicious of these people when you're starting to date them?
Yes.
Because you're like, oh, well, I got it wrong last time.
Now I don't trust anybody. So now I went from being the most trusting person in the universe to not trusting. Yes.
That's got to be hard to develop anything when you're like
that. It is.
It
is hard. But now you have to remember, it's also not so much about trusting other people. It's also about trusting yourself. Because now I've gotten educated. I'm understanding myself more. I'm understanding relational dynamics a little bit better. I mean, compared to where I am today, I'm still green as hell. But I'm feeling... I love relationships. I love love. So I'm ready to fall in love, but I want to.
You're ready to fall in love.
Yeah, I'm very weary of falling in love, but I'm not against it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not against it.
So it's not out of the question, but you're like, what could go wrong?
Yeah,
here?
well, yeah. Well, now I don't trust people.
Yeah. Okay, so you meet your now current husband. You've been married, I guess, for what, like 20 years, something like that. So this
23 years.
This one's a successful marriage.
23 years, yeah.
Okay. So what about him made you trust him? And how long did that take?
It's, what made me trust him was when we've had our first fight, he said to me, oh, yeah, I get that. I hear you. And I was like, what?
That's never happened before.
I was like, you hear me? You're willing to collaborate? You're willing to cooperate? I couldn't believe it.
What was the fight over?
Something like, I don't even remember, but it was something stupid. It was like where to go for dinner or something. I don't know. But it was, and I now I have a saying, if somebody can't hear you, they can't love you.
Ooh, I might use that. That's pretty good.
It's good. Yeah.
I'll give you some creds on that.
Okay.
If someone can't hear you, they can't love you.
Yeah.
So you never felt like Jordan actually listened to you. You felt like he listened to respond.
Yes.
Rather than understand.
Yes. That's a good way to say it.
Okay. So your new husband, when you're dating him, you felt like he actually saw you, understood you.
Yes. Yes.
That's interesting.
Yes.
That's usually like, when you break down anything in the world, not even just romantic relationships, any type of relationship, it never ceases to blow my mind how much the very first thing to go down in many cases is just communication.
That's right.
And then everyone else's flaws get exacerbated by that if they have them.
That's right.
But like, God, it seems so simple. But you get those wires crossed even once with somebody and it just
I know. Yeah, yeah, no, communication's everything, and you have to be able we have a collaborative part of the brain, and for some people, it's just not activated,
Yeah.
and for his, it was, and he's very caretaking. He would, like, bring me tea, right? There's my acts of service,
Hmm.
right there. He's Italian, he's a great chef, makes homemade pizza. I love pizza, I'm from Brooklyn. And so and he had 3 kids, I had 2 kids, we were all the same age. My favorite show growing up was The Brady Bunch. I was like, "Here we go." And he said to me, "I live in California, why don't you move to California?"
How long did that take? Like, how you said you were ready to fall in love, but you were like weary of it. So, what was the
About 2
timeline on?
years.
Okay.
About 2 years, yeah.
So you're feeling it out for a while,
Yeah,
and then eventually just feel safe.
and then it feels safe, um, my and then Jordan was wearing his ankle bracelet and decided to take a helicopter to Atlantic City. So I was actually able to move.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
I'm so
So,
confused.
okay, so I'm dating John.
Yeah. What year are we in? Oh
So,
five, oh
yeah, no, no,
four.
no, no. We're like in 2000. No, no, no. We're in 2000 maybe.
So
Yeah.
Jordan's not in prison yet. He's
Jordan
just on
doesn't
the
go to
anchor.
prison for 6, 7 years. He doesn't get sentenced for 6, 7 years.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, but he's out with his ankle bracelet, and uh, he does this stupid thing and takes a helicopter to New Jersey with an
With
ankle
an
bracelet.
ankle
You
bracelet on.
can't do that. And so my attorney says to me, "I know you want to go to California. You can probably go now."
What? Why couldn't you go? Because you'd
Because
be
he's the
taking the
dad.
kids.
Yeah, because I'd be
Yeah.
taking the kids. Yeah. And I was never looking to take his kids ever. But if he's going to be in jail before he's sentencing, which is really what happened, then the judge was like, "Tell her to go." And then we left and we rebuilt our life.
Did Jordan have access to really any, like he's taking a helicopter to AC? Did he have access to money at the time?
I
or-
don't know, because remember, now I'm not with him. So I have
Right.
no idea what he's doing.
Hear no evil, see no evil.
Yeah. And I don't know why he would do that, honestly, because we weren't talking.
Yeah.
I was like, "You did that? All right."
Was he getting jealous at all that you were out there again?
You know
doing
what?
your
My
thing?
husband was really good. He said to me, "I'm going to call Jordan and I'm going to take him for breakfast." I was like, "Really?" Okay. And he did. And he said, "I'm going to be around your kids, and I know what it's like to have somebody around my kids, and I want to meet you."
And did they get along?
They got along right from the get-go.
Wow.
I think Jordan really respected that.
Now you go to California though. Was Jordan, because it's several years before he even goes to prison, was he able to see his kids at all
Yeah,
during that
yeah,
time?
yeah, yeah. I would send them back for the summers, and then he moved to California.
Were you ever worried about that though? Like obviously he loves his kids, but he's his own worst enemy. He's going through a crazy time.
You know what? At that point, he was really humble. He was very sober.
He was humble.
He was. He was.
Define humble.
He was different. There wasn't that grandiosity. He was into the simple things. He was into the simple things. He baked cookies with them. He'd cook with them. He actually was with them, doing things with them.
Mm.
And no, he was sober. And I always know how much he loved his children. That's a fact, 150%. And my sister was there. I had a lot of friends in Long Island. And I'm the type of mother that, I have children with this man. I have to respect that.
Mm.
As long as he's a good dad and they're being safe with him, it's not for me to play God, and be like, "You get to see your kids like this," or
Yeah.
that's not cool. That's not.
I agree, but
Yeah.
if there were ever a time where people would be understanding,
Yes, they would be, but
You know.
he demonstrated all. He was just really being a great dad.
it's kind of crazy though, like how crammed this timeline is though for you to get to this zen, because in
Yes.
a way, like you're dealing with a progressively deteriorating marriage for what 7-8 years,
Yeah.
something like that. He's a drug addict, that makes it 10 times worse.
Yes.
He then gets sober, but it's miserable for a year. He then gets under federal indictment. He's
Yeah.
facing fucking 40 years in prison if things go wrong. And like you divorce him, You start dating, you find a man you love, he does something stupid, you move to California. Like, this is all happening. Like, that part, the end,
Yeah.
happens so fast. And yet
Yes.
you're able to get yourself to a place where A, you can fall in love with it again, but
Mhm.
also B, like, you can have the zen to step back and be like, you know what? He actually, I hated this guy in a lot of ways
Yeah.
based on where it got to, but he does really care about his kids, my kids, with
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
And he's a good, like you used the words, like he's a good dad at that
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Yeah. He was a great dad. So, and I'm just not, I don't know. Again, if I thought they were unsafe, if I thought he was still doing drugs, but he was really a perfect citizen, except for the Atlantic City thing, for that little moment. But because he's being watched,
Yeah.
right? So he's very calm, and
You weren't worried about him going back to drugs, though?
I really wasn't, because he's that type of person. Once he makes his mind up, he's in it.
Thank you guys for checking out this clip. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe and hit the like button on this video. It is a huge, huge help. And if you'd like to check out this clip's full podcast episode, that link is in the description below or right here. And finally, you can follow me on Instagram and X by using the links in my description below.